My para is off to a bad start. For context, she is new to the city, she doesn't talk with her family, she doesn't have a good relationship, and her goal is to create her own family. The first order of business was getting her a job, and I wanted her to work in the medical field. I was thinking for her to be a nurse, but I actually downloaded a few mods that add some other careers and jobs to the game, and one of them was mental health. And I thought, you know what, that fits her vibe perfectly because of her childhood trauma. And I was debating whether she would be working at a private clinic or the hospital, and I thought the hospital actually fit her better. So she became an intake specialist. She works Sunday through Thursday. She has Friday and Saturdays off, and it's going to be a bit of a challenge because she's actually a night owl and her job starts at 7. So I'm going to see how she actually handles that. And I do want a bit more of a challenge when I'm playing Store Lives. I actually chose Ricardo Castello or Ricardo Castello, the third, because I truly want challenging parallels. I want to be completely surprised. I want the game to force me to pivot. Then it was time for her to eat because that's actually one of the first goals that you receive when you start a new game. She made some egg toast. For some reason, she decided to eat them while standing up, even though she has a table right behind her. But I understand. Then it was time to meet some new people because she literally doesn't know anyone, and I want her to have a thriving social life. The first time that I actually played the game, my para went to the gym, but I feel Lillian isn't actually that much interested in working out. I think she's going to do yoga eventually. So I decided to go to the library because I also wanted to know if the buildings were rabbit holes or if all the buildings were actually functional. I don't know if it was a glitch, but for some reason, the first floor of the library didn't load. Like there were no windows, no doors. I don't know what was going on with it. From the second floor on up, it loaded perfectly, but I kept waiting for the first floor to load and it didn't. So I don't know if that was intentional or if it's a glitch. I probably should take a screenshot of it and send it to the devs, make sure that they are aware of that. But she tried to read a romance book that I think she didn't like because she closed it immediately. Then she tried to read some romance fan fiction online, which I found really funny. And she was there for a while, but then I said, oh, the point of this is for her to actually make friends. So she went downstairs again because for some reason the paras were not moving from the entrance of the library. I think that was actually a glitch. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if it's because the first floor didn't load or I don't know what happened there. She had to go downstairs and talk to some people downstairs. Like they were not even socializing with each other. Everybody was just doing their own thing. She met two paras. I'm actually looking for her best friend. The first one she clicked with amazingly. They have a similar vibe. They got along super great. The second one is gloomy, so they were not really progressing that well. So I think she has a little more potential with the first one. Then I decided it's time to explore another building because, like I said, I want to know if all the buildings are functional or if there's rabbit holes. So I went to the clothing store, and I'm gonna be raving about this, but it is so cute. It's like 3 floors. The base floor and the second floor are the clothing store, and I find it amazing how there's 2 levels and you can enter from both floors. And that might seem extremely basic, but I love the terrain of the world. And the fact that you can make buildings like this, to me, is groundbreaking. I've never seen this in a game. Like in a simulation game where you can make buildings like this, that's fantastic. I love it so much. It adds so much realism. She met a guy. They hit it up really well. They talked for a while. She flirted with him. The relationship was going very well. But I also want her to have a best friend. And I saw this cool girl walking around. I was like, she needs to talk to her. She needs to know her. Because I want her best friend to actually have a completely opposite style from her. And that girl looks so cool. So I made her talk, and they were talking for a while. They hit it up really well as well. They're both energetic, so they have similar personalities. They were talking for a really long time. And I do want her to be a really good friend to her. But then I saw another girl, and I was like, you know what? I also like her too. So I made her talk to her as well. And again, they were talking for a really long time. And I've seen some people complaining about how they don't like the card system in Paralives. They would prefer something more similar to The Sims 4, where you have speech bubbles that you have to click so that you could queue up different conversation points and your parents can talk about it. And maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I'm gonna have to disagree. I really like the card system that they have in paralives. I think you do need to have more variety because like they will have to add more cards because they do get repetitive after a while. Makes sense because she's knowing these people first. Like, of course, you have to introduce yourself and have small talk before you actually get to the nitty gritty. You're not gonna be going to a person and immediately asking them, "What's your deepest dark secrets?" and tell me your childhood trauma. Although she is a mental health specialist, so she will probably do that. But I know I compare The Sims 4 to Paralives that much, and it's because The Sims 4 has been the only game of its kind in the simulation genre. There's been nothing like it before it or after, except for inzoi and now Paralives. But they're their own different games. They're not meant to be clones of one another. And people are saying it's because they want to have more options for them to tell the stories that they want to tell. It's just for storytelling purposes. And I completely understand that. But I feel like if they really wanted that, then they should continue playing The Sims 4 because The Sims 4 is perfect for that. I made a video talking about what I think are the downsides of Sims 4 and what I think led to its downfall. But for me, one of the biggest issues that I had with The Sims 4 was the gameplay. And it's a bit ironic because in The Sims 3, one of my biggest issues was the fact that the Sims wouldn't do what I wanted. They had their own personalities, and I had to struggle with that in order to get what I wanted. I tried to recreate my Sims 4 legacy in The Sims 3, and I had so much trouble that I ended up getting frustrated and gave up. My family was living in Twinbrook, and there's the Racket household, which has a teenage daughter that I wanted her to date my teenage boy, but she was not into him at all. At one point, they were talking at the pool, and I sucks that I don't have any pictures or videos. Like, I do have them, but I'm just too lazy to actually include them in the video. They were talking at the pool, and she wanted to escape the conversation so badly that she went into the bathroom despite not having to use it, and she just stood there. And he just stood outside waiting for her. Like, that is actually hilarious. At the same time, I was like, please work with me because you guys have to date. So that was a big issue that I had in The Sims 3. The fact that I couldn't do exactly what I wanted to do to tell the story that I expected to tell. But in The Sims 4, that's the point. I think they tweaked that in The Sims 4 because they knew a lot of players were getting frustrated because their Sims didn't do exactly what they wanted to do. And now you have to control every single thing in The Sims 4. You have to manage everything. And I am tired of that system. I am. I don't want that anymore. I want my parents to have their own personality. And I love the card system so much because, yes, it's not like you're choosing what they talk about, but you're still being included and influencing the progression of their relationship, what direction they're going to take in their relationship. You can choose if they want to be romantic or if they want to continue being friends or if they just want to make small talk and not deepen the relationship as much. And I find that that's a lot better because it forces you to keep paying attention to what you're doing because there's a bar that you have to keep paying attention to that fills up. Then you get a prompt that you can choose, but it's not something that you have to be planning to. I wouldn't want to have the speech bubble system in a paralives. I wouldn't want that. I don't want that. When it comes to simulation games, there's the basics. Like, if we're talking about simulation games like this, you make a character, you customize their house, you choose their jobs, you create a family of their relationships. But the difference is how those features are made. The cast and the paramaker are different. Yes, you're creating a character, but you're doing it in different ways. There's a different art style. In build mode, it's a completely different system. There's grids in The Sims 4, there's no grids in Paralives. You can make objects bigger and smaller. There's basically no objects unnecessary. You have the color wheel. And socializing should be different too. I don't want the same theme as The Sims 4 because then I would have continued playing The Sims 4. Like, yeah, it had glitches and everything, but they were not game breaking, to be honest. But I like them a lot of the time because it added a little challenge to the game that doesn't basically have any challenge. In The Sims 4, you have to create every challenge, every obstacle. You have to make it, basically, when it comes to relationships. Sims talk for 2 hours and they become friends. In Paralives, it's not the same thing. My para was talking with paras for hours, and she was only acquaintances with all of them, which makes a lot more sense. Like, yes, you have to develop their relationships differently. Then you have to pay attention to what cards you're choosing. And the parents' personalities also influence on whether the relationship is good or not. I saw this guy walking around and I was like, you know what? She should have different romantic prospects so she could have options. And yes, it's not gonna be Jason. I heard from somebody else that also plays the game that everybody's been into Jason. That's the hottie of the game, and I don't want that for my para. Also, he's so tall that she looks like a child next to him. She needs a little one shorter. So I saw this guy Jake walking around, and I was like, you know what? That's perfect. Let's go talk to him because he also has a darker style, and I feel that could actually work. You know, opposite attracts kind of thing. But the guy was just not into her at all. He wasn't into her at all from the get go. They have opposing personalities. They don't vibe. Nothing that I choose worked. At one time I tried to flirt. He didn't like that. At one time I tried to be a little bit more enthusiastic. He didn't like that at all. I eventually took the hint and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna pressure it because it's not gonna go anywhere. She's gonna have to try to somebody else. Karim, the first guy that she talked to, seems like a very good choice. Maybe she should focus on that. So I canceled the interaction, and literally before they even finished talking, the guy just walked away. He was so done that he disappeared. Apparently, he was asking her to swallow him up, and the earth did. And then he reappeared a few steps after. But those are the things that I want in a game. I don't want things to go exactly as I have planned because then it just becomes boring. I want to experience a game. I don't want to have to create one. Like, yes, I would like to create a story, but I'm more of a person that likes to just connect the dots. Like, for example, she's a single parrot that doesn't know anyone because she moved to this new town and she doesn't have a family because she had a bad family life and decided to go non contact. That's why she works in the mental health industry because she relates to us and she cares for people. Where she's so crazy to marry someone so fast because she wants to create a perfect family that she never had. Like, I can make a story out of those things that the game gives me. I don't have to micromanage every single thing. I don't have to create a challenge for myself because the game does it on its own. And that's what I love about paralives. And I don't want to impose my desires on the game because, to be honest, I trust the developers of this game. I can truly feel that they care and they are passionate about what they're doing, and this is made from people that actually play simulation games. And so far, I haven't been disappointed. I don't know if I explained myself correctly, but yeah, I don't want the card system to change. I think they should add more, and I saw that they plan to because I saw screenshots of a Q&A that they had, which I don't know where it was done. I saw a short about it. I don't know if it was in their YouTube page or where they did it because I didn't find out anything about it. But I'm very happy with the state of the game right now, even though it's early access and we're going to be on early access for 2 years. I see the potential of the game. I see the vision that the developers have, and I trust it. This became a little bit deeper than I intended, but that's how the first day for my para went. Met a lot of people. We progressed our relationships. She still doesn't have a best friend. She still doesn't have a boyfriend, but we're getting there. At least we have some prospects.